Hi, today we're going to continue our math journey. I'm going to talk about algebra basics, fundamentals. So anyone who is very new to algebra can start watching these videos. I'm going to go step by step. This will be a series of about at least 100 videos. I'm going to explain starting from the very basics of the math. Let's jump into the algebra. Algebra basics. The two fundamentals of the algebra are called constants, variables. That's all algebra. How we manipulate the constants and variables in the equations to form equations. Let's see, what is a constant? The English word constant means something stable. Numbers, it can be symbols, letters, A to Z, 0 to 9 numbers, fixed, not changeable. Integers, fractions, irrational numbers. Pi from geometry, 3.14. It is a constant. E, exponentiation. So all these are constants that will not change in any program or over time. The opposite of constants is variables. Unknown quantities changing every second in the program. When we start writing program and coding, the variables rule the world. They keep changing and modifying, printing, changing quantities. Example, x, y, z are variables holding some values. Initially x will be 10, after that time x will be 20, x will be 40. That's what changing quantities mean inside a program. So what we deal with variables and constants, what do? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division of these variables. For example, exponentiation. What's exponentiation? Something raised to the power of something, like 2 to the power 1 is 2, 2 to the power 2 is 2 times 2, 4, so on. Then let's move on to another topic of what do we do with constants and variables. We use constants and variables to form equations. How many types of equations are there? At least 8 types. I listed here at least 8 types. First is linear equation, that's degree 1. Degree means power. I'll explain later about each in the next video. Quadratic equation, maximum power is 2. Cubic equation, maximum power is 3. We call degree 2, degree 3. Radical equations, exponential equations, trigonometric equations, rational equations, complex equations, which deals with complex numbers. We know about natural numbers, whole numbers, and a whole lot. What is a complex number? It has two parts, real part, imaginary part. This is the designation for describing a complex number. See, less than, greater than, 100 plus 50i. 100 is the real part, 50i is the imaginary part. This will be plotted on a Cartesian coordinates plane. That's the whole objective when it's related to geometry. Each of these is a very powerful field. In my next video, I'm going to give examples and explain about all these 8 types of equations. So this becomes the fundamental base for the algebra. Later we'll talk about algebraic expressions, quadratic equations, very detailed, how to use the graph, how to convert the equation into a graph, slope, intercept, distance formula. That's a whole lot to talk about. Please watch my other math videos. I have one for arithmetic sequence, logarithmic sequence, permutations, combinations, and some theories of math like short videos. Please watch all those. I have other web related videos too, science, reading. When you have time, please watch. Thank you. Hi, in this video, math video, we're going to talk about algebraic expressions. I'm giving 3 examples of algebraic expressions. Before this, please watch my other video where I give introduction about math, algebra, fundamentals, constants, variables, what is an algebraic expression, equation types. Please watch that video first. then you will understand this better. For example, solve 2x plus 3y. This is called an equation. X and y are variables. When x equal to 123 and y equal to 34, how do we solve it? Substitute. This is called substitution method of solving equations. Substitute x and y for 123, 34. Multiply them. This means you have to multiply 2 times 123, 246. 3 times 34, 102, and you add 348. So the solution for this equation 2x plus 3y for these values is 348. That is, this is called an algebraic expression. Okay. Second example. Solve 3x to the power 3 plus 5x when x equal to 2. So substituting the value of 2 power 3 called exponentiation. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Substitute 8 times 3 is 24. 5 times 2, 10. So the solution for this equation is 34 for that value of x. Usually we use these to plot in a graph of Cartesian coordinate systems, x-axis and y-axis. Third example, solve 100x squared minus 13x when x equal to negative number minus 1. So 100x squared minus 13x, substitute minus 1 squared minus 13 times minus 1. Here you got to see negative times negative, positive 1. Negative 13 times negative 1 is positive 13. That's what I substituted here. So what you get is add 113. The value for this equation is 113. So these are 3 examples of very simple equations. Let's talk about what is an algebraic expression, It's formed of constants and variables, like I said in the previous video. There are 4 types of algebraic expressions: monomial, binomial, trinomial, polynomial. Mono means 1. So monomial is 1 term. Binomial, bi means 2 terms. Terms meaning the expression, other expressions, variables and constants. Trinomial is 3 terms. Polynomial is more than 1 terms actually. It's not 1 or more terms. So it will be monomial, it can be binomial, trinomial. So if you see the degree of these, 1 term means just 1. Some examples can be given here. Monomial coefficient, there will be a constant. Like you see here, it's 1. 25x squared is a monomial. And variable raised to the non-negative integer. See, a variable raised to the non-negative integer. What they mean is exponentiation. For binomial, it's not like terms. Different variables or exponents. For example, it will be 31x to the power 2 plus 40x. And one more point about monomial is it cannot have variables in the denominator. What's the denominator? 2 by 3, 2 is numerator, 3 is denominator, like a fraction I'm talking about. That's what denominator is. Okay, let's move on to trinomial, 3 terms. When we say this is 1 term, see, this is 1 term, 2 terms, right? This is 1 term, 1 is a monomial. Should be a comma here. Okay, trinomial, 3 terms, 1, 2 and 3. It's constant, variable. Not like terms, meaning it's not same, 100x squared minus 3x minus 5. This is another example. 42x cube plus 10x squared minus x. 1, 2, 3 terms. The terms, the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division signs separate the individual terms. Let's move on to the final polynomial. It can be a monomial, binomial or trinomial, 1 or more terms. So this is like 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. 45x cube minus 4x squared plus 2x minus 50. Another example is 5 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7x to the power 4 plus 13x cube minus 4x squared plus x minus 1000. It can be more, there can be 6 terms, 10 terms, it will be a complex polynomial, you know. So this covers the basics of algebraic expressions. We'll be using all this and trying to plot in a graph of Cartesian coordinate system, x-axis and y-axis. It's a 2D, two-dimensional. When you add z to that, that becomes 3D. We'll talk about it later. This gives a very brief introduction and I gave some examples too. Please watch my other videos about math sequences, arithmetic, geometric. I have permutations, combinations and many other math topics. We have science reading videos too and some games too. Watch.